Last week was nice. Our AI system picked out some really good winners, especially the underdogs like Martin Budai, Davy Grant, and even Muslim frickin' Salikov at 41 years old. And of course, not to mention our underdog log of the week, Bogdan Guzkov. I mean, yeah, there were some pretty bad ones too, like Mohamed Yahya and Amanda Hebas, and of course, Marc-Andre Barrios. But that's where the human side came in, right? I looked at those, especially Mohamed Yahya, poor guy. And pretty much, kind of just negated those picks and shut them down. So overall, our picks actually turned out really good. Most of our locks were hits. The blue ones all hit. The green ones almost hit, except for Ibo Aslan. It's all right. Calm down. It's okay. We can't win them all. It's okay.
For your winner by unanimous decision, Billy, son of Susan.
How are you surprised, man? This week, we got UFC Vegas 108, headlined by Tatsuro Taira fighting a short notice human highlight reel replacement, Hyungsung Park. Let's figure this out together. First fight of the night. To be honest, low-level women's MMA. Between the two, I think Piera Rodriguez is better all around. What I like about her is that she's a dominant fighter. She likes to, impose her will on you, so to speak. She clinches you. She, doesn't go for the knockout punch. She's not reckless. She just dominates at the level that she fights at. But here's a problem.
Got her hurt bad here.
Watch your head. Be careful the head.
Yeah. Oh man, she did it again.
That was.
Yeah, man. What? So she lost that fight via intentional headbutting. That's pretty bad. I mean, the 1/1.5 would have hit for that. But, I mean, imagine having money on Rodriguez that fight. She was winning up to that point. She was dominating. And then she loses through intentional headbutting. So I'm just saying. At the minus 188, I think it's minus 200 now. Price you're laying on Rodriguez, as well as the over 1.5, which I think is really, really safe, barring a knucklehead move like a headbutt or something stupid. But it could happen. Someone who shows that they could do it in the past could do it again. If you're willing to, roll the dice that she won't do that again, I think it is pretty safe to pick this fight to go over 1.5 rounds. The computer also thinks Rodriguez is a pretty good pick. I agree. I'm just not super confident because of I'm just saying. Next, we got Rafael Estevam, undefeated UFC fighter, fighting Felipe Bunez. Felipe Bunez, man, he might be the best 14-7 fighter on the UFC roster, and Estevam might be the worst, the only maybe 13-0 fighter on the UFC roster. I'm not very impressed with him. I don't think he's like a 13-0 dominant win like Khamzat Chimaev. And Bunez is much better than the 14-7 record that is shown. So I'm not so sure about the line at minus 450. Are you really going to include, Rafael Estevam in every one of your parlays at that price? No. Are you going to single bet him at minus 450? No. So, at this point, what do? The computer likes Bunez. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, he's a plus 350. I think plus 400 now. Underdog. So that's in red. I'm just saying I'm not pushing everyone for Bunez. He's not a lock. He's not even 50-50. I think more likely than not, I think he does lose. But it's worth a shot at plus 350. And I definitely can't put money on Estevam at this point. Round betting is pretty tough because it could finish early, it could be a decision. Who knows? Next, we got Austin Bashi fighting John Yanis. And first of all, round betting is off here, right? This could be a very, very dominant first round finish by Austin Bashi. Or it could be a boring decision or one-sided dominant decision. But at the bottom line, I think Bashi wins this. Surely, right? Surely. But damn, the price, minus 800, minus 700, or whatever he is right now. That's a lot for a 0-1 UFC fighter, right? He's 23 years old. He's young. He's 0-1. He's got great grappling and wrestling. I'll give him that. John Yanis probably doesn't have the best takedown defense, but he's working on it. I don't know. What happens if this fight doesn't go the way that Austin Bashi wants it to in the first 2 rounds? Then what happens? Bashi probably wins this. Yeah, I feel pretty confident. It just doesn't make any sense to me for Bashi to lose to this last-minute short notice replacement from a much lower tier promotion, right? Bashi, I think, is a UFC caliber. I don't think I can say the same for Giannis. So Bashi's the pick. I don't think we can really put him any bets, honestly, at minus 800 or 700, whatever it is. But for the sake of argument, for the record, I do feel very confident in Austin Bashi. Next, we got Nick Klein fighting Andrei Poyaev. Let's talk about Nick Klein first. Well, there's not much to talk about. Nick Klein is a solid, pretty fun fighter to watch, honestly. He finishes fights so quickly in the first round, like 30 seconds in with his submissions. Really cool guy. And his first fight in the UFC was against Mansour Abdur Malik, and who's hyped up to be the next biggest thing. And he actually had him in trouble. Nick Klein had a spinning back elbow on Malik in the first round, and then he got tired, and then eventually lost in the second round. But there is a lot of talk about for Andre Poyaev. I don't really know what's up with this dude. I really don't. I don't think anybody in their right mind should be laying favorite money on Andre Poyaev, given what he's shown in the UFC debut against Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD. If you go and watch that fight, man, Christian Leroy Duncan is no dominant force in the UFC. Okay, he is a solid, well-rounded, just like a mid UFC fighter, and he looked like God against Poyaev. Poyaev couldn't do anything. He had 18 significant strikes over the span of 15 minutes, and he wasn't even taken down. I mean, if CLD took him down, controlled him, then yeah, of course he wouldn't be able to significantly strike CLD. But it was a stand-up fight, right? There was some clinching. He was just like not active. He's not active. He doesn't show urgency. He was clearly down 2 rounds to none, right? And he didn't do shit. I'm just saying, if that's him, because if you look at his wins, right? He's got 9-3. His record's 9-3. Look at his wins. Who are they up against? His recent wins are against a guy with 21 and now 26 professional losses. He's beating guys that are 2-0, 1-0, just at the start of their careers. Look, I'm not saying Nick Klein is going to come in here and just dominate the win as an underdog like Guskov did last week. I'm not saying that. But I think it's worth a little bit, a sprinkle on Nick Klein, given how poorly Poyaev has shown in his UFC debut. That's all I'm saying. A round bet here is actually pretty interesting. The computer loves the over 2.5. I mean, I don't share that enthusiasm. It's pretty scary, but I'll take the over 1.5 based on just how defensive and timid Poyaev has looked in his UFC debut. I think the over 1.5 at -190, not bad, not bad. Klein at +130, also not bad. Next, we got Rodolfo Vieira fighting Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore has got 8 professional fights. What is he doing? What is he doing in the UFC? He's 5-3 with, 2-3 in the UFC. I mean, in his defense, he's been fighting some really good guys. He's fought like Brian Battle in his UFC debut. He's fought Marco Tulio last time. He got destroyed, as he should. But he's a tough dude, man. I thought he was going to finish a lot earlier that fight. He's tough, and he's got that sneaky guillotine, right? He's a guillotine merchant. The only problem is he's fighting Vieira, who's a black belt BJJ, winning 90% of his fights by submission. Now, I know, offensive grappling is not the same as defensive. So I'm just saying it's a bit scary for Vieira, but I still think Vieira should win here, no? What is Tresean Gore going to do? Piece Vieira up from on the feet? I don't think his setup's that good. And I don't think Vieira's going to want to stand with him for the full 15 minutes, right? He's probably going to shoot a 2-leg, eventually get Gore down, and then yikes. Computer is not very big on money line, but it likes the under 2.5, and I can see merit in that. I can see logic. I think Vieira's going to win. Not super confident, hence the yellow. Next, we got Rinya Nakamura fighting Nathan Fletcher. Nakamura should win this. Don't need to overthink it, I think. Nathan Fletcher is coming from The Ultimate Fighter, and the fact that he lost to guys like Khan Ofli, that hasn't aged well. Ofli is not UFC level. Rinya Nakamura is UFC level, and his last loss, honestly, with his own bonehead decisions, right? He should have started grappling. That's what he's good at. He's really good at grappling. He's tough. He's not going to get finished. What's Nathan Fletcher going to do to Rinya Nakamura? Nathan Fletcher needs the guy to be inexperienced and make mistakes and get caught in a submission. That's what I think. Rinya is not that guy. So at -400, I mean, it's not ideal. I would have loved a -250, -275, -400. It's not ideal, but I feel pretty confident that he's going to win. And I don't think this fight's going to be finished really early. Nathan Fletcher is also pretty damn tough. So the over is not bad. Nakamura, pretty confident. Moving on, we got potentially the fight of the night between Danny Silva and Kevin Vallejos. Ooh, that's gonna be a really good fight. I see the excitement in Kevin Vallejos, and I see the reason why you would want to bet him, right? He's 15-1 with one loss coming to Gene Silva in the Contender Series, and he's probably gained more momentum and fame from that loss than he has from his wins, right? Everyone knows him to be the guy that fought Gene Silva and lost. You know, the only guy who never got finished by Gene Silva. And yeah, I mean, good for him. Good for him to losing to Gene Silva. But the only thing I have to remind you is Danny Silva is also Silva. No, just kidding. Not the last name. Danny Silva is also a prospect on his own right. He's 10-1, undefeated in the UFC. And why the hell is he plus 300? Neither of these guys has been finished. Is Kevin Vallejo going to come in and do his usual thing? Come in here in round one, pow, pow. I don't think so. I think Danny Silva is pretty tough. This fight could be a very exciting fight on the feet, and starting in the second half of the second round or the third round, I don't know what Kevin Vallejos is going to look like. So, having said that, the computer doesn't want to touch the money line, and I agree with that. The round over 1.5. At first, I didn't like it because, Vallejos first round finish. But then I think about it, it's really good. Minus 170. These two guys are tough as nails. They've never been finished. So I don't think a first round finish is in the books here. I'm still picking Vallejos as, but there's nowhere near as confident as I should be for a minus 400. I'm just saying. So I wouldn't want to bet this. I just want to enjoy the fight. Let's watch this fight, enjoy it, and see if Vallejos is really the real deal. How about that? The over, though, minus 170. Not bad. Not bad. From a fight of the night contender to a snooze fest of the night contender, we got Neil Magny fighting Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Let's please be real here, guys. Why are we talking about this fight in 2025? There's better things to do in life. We can go watch birds. We can go to an ice cream parlor, eat some ice cream. Right? There's no reason to watch this fight, let alone put money on this fight. I know you want to put money on Magny. I know you do. But I also know you don't want to bet Magny. You don't. Watch his Carlos Parates fight. Watch his Vince Morales fight. You don't want it. So what do? We're conflicted, aren't we, guys? We like Magny because of his Magny underdog. But we also are scared of Magny. Don't touch this. It's not worth it. If you must. The computer, for what it's worth, does like Magny. I'm just saying the computer likes him. If I were going to bet on Magny this week at plus 170, that's not enough for me to beg on Magny. I'll tell you that. Plus 170 is not enough. I want like plus 300. So the best thing to do is probably just do Magny win by decision. I don't think Magny has enough power or submission craftiness to finish Zaleski at this point in time in his career. So that's that. Over 1.5 is minus 330. Not bad. But I'm just saying Magny has been knocked out in the first round in his last few fights, albeit against two very young and powerful guys, which does not apply to Zaleski. Moving on, we got Carol Hossa fighting Nora Cornoli, or Cornol rather, and I think Cornol here is a really good pick, guys. Plus 150 underdog. I think she's at plus 162 now, I think. I don't know why the line's going the other way. It's weird. I don't know why. But Cornol should be at least a coin flip in this fight. At the very worst, this fight's a coin flip. Because if you look at Carol Hossa's fights, she beats women who are bad. She beats women with records like 10-6, 14-7, 16-8. Nora Cornol is not like that. Nora Cornol is decent. Her striking is legit. She hits hard. She times her hits well. She's smart. And I don't think Carol Hossa is going to be able to just be a non-stop grappling machine for 3 rounds and outwork Cornol. I don't think so. Go watch her last fight. The one that she got twerked on by Eileen Perez. She didn't look that good, man. She's 18-7. Is she supposed to look good? I don't know. So at plus 150 or plus 162, I think now, I'm taking Nora Cornol. Okay, this is not like a 80%, 90% win chance, but I think at worst it's a coin flip. At best, I think we're looking at a 70% win rate for Nora Cornol here. The computer has no comments on this. I like Cornol. I also like the 1.5 over, but it's like minus 900. So I'm not Albert Einstein here. Cornol plus 150. Very, very good underdog for this fight. Now we got Elvis Brenner fighting Esteban Ribovics. I think this will be a very interesting fight. Nice little stand-up duel between the two. Ribovic is going to hit cleaner, more volume. Brenner is going to be a bit slower, but swings harder, right? So this is one of those fights where, you might not notice it, but Ribovic is just racking up the points, right? Leading to like a 30-27 with an occasional 29-28 decision win. Which means I like the over. I do like the over here. I don't think Brenner is going to hit a Hail Mary knockout punch onto Ribovics, and I don't think Ribovics has the power to finish Brenner either, especially early on. So the pick here would be Ribovics. I think it's a pretty good win for minus 250, as good as it gets, honestly, for this card for that price. And the over 1.5 is also minus 250, and I think it's pretty good as well. Next, we got Mateusz Rumbetsky fighting Chris Duncan. And this is a bad one for me. I love Rumbetsky from the early on. He is so cool to watch. He's built like a tank, but he moves fast. He punches hard. He's just great to watch in round 1. He's solid to watch in round 2. And then he's a bit hard to watch in round 3. Just because, when a guy is built just like him, like a tank with all that muscle, it's tough. It's tough to last. But in his defense, when he gasses, like he doesn't gas that badly. Some guys' body languages are really bad. They're like, he's not. Like he's still, moving his head and stuff, but he just slows down, as he should. The problem I have here is not so much Rumbetsky as it is Chris Duncan. Everyone knows Duncan is not as good as Rumbetsky on the feet, right? He's out, like the speed and skill difference is there. There's a gap. The problem is Chris Duncan keeps winning as a plus 150 to plus 250 underdog. He keeps winning, yo. Last time out, he was fighting Jordan Vucinic, right? Although, to be fair, I don't think Vucinic deserved to be a favorite, given that it was his UFC debut, and he doesn't look that great. But he won. He was also an underdog against Balaji Oki, and to be fair, Oki was beating him up on the feet up until he got choked out while on top of Duncan. But Duncan won. A win's a win. I'm just saying, it's a bit scary, man, going against Chris Duncan when he's a plus 170 underdog. Having said that, do I think he's going to catch Rumbetsky in a guillotine? I don't think so. I think Rumbetsky is just, unlike the other two guys, right? Balaji Oki is pretty good, but he's not that fast, and he's inexperienced. Rumbetsky is experienced. Dude's got 22 professional fights. I don't think Chris Duncan has a chance in round 1, and probably not in round 2. I'm worried about round 3, but I'm willing to believe that Rumbetsky can survive. If it gets there, there's a chance this fight doesn't get there. There's a very realistic chance here that Rumbetsky knocks Chris Duncan the F out in the first or second round. But if it does get there, I'm a little bit worried. I'm not going to lie. The under 2.5 though, right? I don't think it gets there. So the under 2.5 is not bad. Both of these guys are finishers. Main event. Tatsuro Taira taking on Hyun-Sung Park. Hyun-Sung Park is undefeated, and he's a plus 275 underdog. Should we jump him? Should we go on him? Don't do it, man. No. Taira should win this one. I think the line here is a bit weird. I think it's the undefeated record. Because here's what Park's facing. Park has never really beaten anybody that's actually good. Not his fault. I mean, can't blame the guy. He fights the guys that he's supposed to fight. What do you want him to do? But his best win, his most recent win, was against Carlos Hernandez, who he finished in the first round. And yet that same guy, Carlos Hernandez, was also finished by Taira early on in the second round. He was also getting close to being finished in the first round by Taira for what it's worth. So yeah, Taira can handle the dudes Park's handling, but Taira is also handling dudes that Park hasn't faced yet. Taira's handling guys like Alex Perez. Taira almost beat Brandon Royval. Split decision. Very close. Could have gone either way. Park is a short notice. This is a 5-round fight. It doesn't look good for him. I like the dude, and I think his game plan is going to be to come out fast, right? Take some risks, because he's not going to outlast Taira in a 5-round fight, even with a full camp. Taira's got really good cardio. So my pick here would be Taira. The computer likes the under 3.5. Again, I don't hate it. I don't hate the under. Usually, for this weight class, over would be the play. It's a bit scary, though, because Park is coming in and short notice, and I don't think he wants to go the full 5 rounds because I think he'll just lose by decision. So why do that when you can actually take a chance in the first or second round? So Taira is a lock here in blue, and under 3.5 is also in play. Thanks for watching. Best of luck, and I'll see you next week.